Hello friends, it's me, Bets Golden. I hope you're able to join me this evening. There's 2 more minutes left before I'm supposed to start at 7, but I guess I can go ahead and show you what we're going to be doing today. I have this card that I created from entirely my stash, and I wanted to share it with you tonight because I think it is really cool. I am using the Galaxy line from Ken Oliver to create the background. And I'm going to show you how to do that. It's like a Northern Lights type inspiration. And then I also am using this really cute layering stamp by Hero Arts. It's this one, and it comes with coordinating dies. And I'm also using their gray, it's this line right here. It's the soft granite charcoal and black on that. Then I purchased I think that this was from last year. This stamp was out of one of the monthly my monthly Hero Art boxes, and it's supposed to be like a desert. Well, we're going to use it to create a snowy landscape. And then out of their Hero Arts box for this month, these little watercolor palette was like perfect for this. So, and no, Hero Arts is not sponsoring this video. I paid for everything I got from them. I bought it. I really wanted it. And so yeah, so this is all me, all my little idea, and I hope that you enjoy this today. And then I also am going to be using some Nuvo clear mark embossing pad, as well as a detail embossing powder in glacier white. That seems perfect, right, for the snowflakes. And then also some sterling Brutus Monroe ultrafine powder on this. So I think we're almost close to 7. Yes, we are. We can go ahead and get started. Welcome. And like I had just mentioned, if you're just joining me, welcome. You're on time. I'm a little early because I'm always worried about my connection. We are going to make this card today. So the first thing that you're going to want to do to create a Northern Light background, and that's kind of what my inspiration is. As you guys know, I was doing a Christmas in July theme on my channel, and I wasn't quite ready to be done with it, so I thought it'd be a nice transition to do a nice little wintry penguin inspired card. And so that's what we're going to do today. So what I'm going to be using is distress watercolor cardstock to create my background on. Now, I also have the Ken Oliver the Ken Oliver watercolor paper, which works wonderfully, but literally this was on my desk when I came up with this particular demo, so that's what I'm going to do. This line is Ken Oliver's Color Burst, and it is the Galaxy line. I do have listed down below a whole bunch of affiliated links. I know that you can find this at the Blitsy affiliated link, and I believe everything in the warehouse is 50% off right now. Of course, this is July 2019. So we're going to go ahead and just create this Galaxy background using this. Now, the Galaxy background also comes with a metallic, which is a liquid metal, and it is a beautiful silver. However, I've gotten real happy with mine and I ran out. So I'm going to be pulling in some metallic quartz and also some metallic turquoise, and let's see just how this does. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to lay out your color. I like to go with kind of my darkest first, so I'm just going to do some of that deep space. And then I want to do some night sky. And again, I'm just trying to get, this is going to be the majority of my color right here. Then we're going to go with some terrestrial, and this is like a really pretty green. And then we're going to go with some Jupiter, and this is some orange. And then we're going to finish off with solar flare, and this is like the yellows. And I'm going to take my spray bottle and I'm just going to mist it down. Now with this particular technique and this particular background, I do need this color to move. So I'm gonna have to work with this and play with this for just a little bit. All right, so that's fairly saturated. I'm going to take out my heat gun and just start to move it around off the page and whatnot, and we'll go back through. I am going to take a paper towel and just kind of start to lift some of that color up because it is just a little bit too, I want it to be this vibrant at the end, but there's still a couple things I kind of want to do to it. So I just want to take off the edges just to pull that color up off the edges. And whenever you're working with color bursts and you're like, that's a little bit too intense for me, you can always do what I'm doing, which is just take a paper towel and dab it over and then remove it. And that definitely lightens up the color. I really like how that looks. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm actually going to remist it, and I'm going to start to add some of my liquid metals to this. And then I'm going to show you what is super important with creating a galaxy or a night sky, and that is you have to have stars. This doesn't look like that yet because we don't have our stars. So I'm going to put this, just re-wet it a little bit, and I'm just going to take my liquid elements and just kind of put a little bit through there, and it's very intense, super beautiful. And then again, I'm just going to take and mist that down, and I'm going to work my heat gun around, not necessarily trying to dry it, but just trying to move it. All right, I really, really love how that looks. So I'm just going to kind of blot up the edges, and I'm going to call this good. Now, before we go on to our second step, you want to make sure that your background is relatively dry, because if it's not dry, this is going to get muted and it just won't work as well. So I have prepared a couple other samples of a background that we will use for this next step, but I'm really excited. I actually like this background better than I think the samples that I have prepared. So let me go ahead and just move this out of the way. And also something else, if you want to speed this process up with a heat tool, that is totally cool. You just need to make sure that as you are heating it up, you are not only heating it from the front like this, but that you flip it over and also dry the back, because you may get the top done, but you may not get the back done, which means that it'll seep back up through there. So just something to keep in mind as you are heat setting your backgrounds or anything you have with your color burst. All right, so I just need to clean this up because I don't want to get the color in my next step. So I am just cleaning up my mat, and this is my Ken Oliver splat mat. I love it. All right, so from here, again, we're just going to let this dry. And so once this dries, you can go ahead and move on to the next step, which is creating your stars. So you're going to take your dry background, and again, you can speed that up by using a heat set gun. It is totally cool. And we are going to take a little bit of titanium white paint. Any paint will work. I have done this with Dilution paint. I have done this with Dina Wakley paint. I have done this with every kind of paint possible. So anything will work. And you can use a paintbrush to do this stuff, but I am going to be using a Distress splat. And I'm going to just put a little bit of water in it just to get it to move a little bit. Now, if you're using like the Dina Wakley or the, Dilutions, you're not going to need to really get this down. And I'm going to move this off so we don't splatter on it. And then this is what brings this to life. And so we are going to just take and we are just going to splat. And this gives it the stars and the things like that. All right, so as this dries, we are going to set this aside. And then once that dries, we can move on to our next step, because this is a winter scene. We're up with a penguin, you know, in Alaska or something, in which we can see these northern lights. And so we will want to get some snowflakes on there out of this little hero art set that I'm using. So I'm sorry I have to clean in front of you. I know it's boring to watch, but if I don't, my instruments will not be any good. And I have a bucket of water. I'm just going to lay that in there. All right, so from here, I have another background that I've already done, because this one you really important that you have it dry. So I'm going to be taking some of these snowflake images, actually all of them, and we're going to be stamping out some snowflakes on this. So I'm going to take down this dried sheet, because we have to wait for this to dry. And I'm just going to get a stamp set. And then I'm using just the snowflakes off of this same penguin set. And I'm just going to pop them on here kind of random. It doesn't have to be perfect, because snowflakes are not perfect. And then I am going to take my fine detail, get this ready to go, as well as my white pigment ink. And I'm going to run it over with this little pouch first to make sure that there's no moisture on here, or else we're not going to get a super crisp image when we stamp. So I'm just going to run that over, and that just picks up that moisture and kind of tap it off a little bit. And then we're going to go ahead and just take with our white pigment pad, pick up some ink, and we're just going to start to apply some of these snowflakes in different areas on our card, just to give it that wintry feel. All right. And then I go all the way kind of down, even though I know that I'm going to cover this up with some ground, so to speak. But, you know, I don't know which side I'm going to use yet. And it's always good to go off of your paper, because it gives it more of a realistic view. Okay, so from here, I'm going to take this, and I'm just going to go ahead and dump my white embossing powder all over it, like so. And we're going to just tap that off. And by layering on that pouch first, what that does is it really allows the embossing powder to just adhere to your stamped image, and it doesn't adhere to anything else, like any kind of fingerprint moisture that I may have had, or anything like that. And I'm just going to use, in case you guys are wondering, I just take a soft bristle brush and gently wipe my embossing powder right back into my barrel. And also, if by chance you forget to run a pouch over your image before you emboss, and you have embossing powder where you don't want it, you can go in with a super light brush like this that's not dense, but it's soft, and totally fix it, and just, you know, brush off the spots that you don't want to have embossing powder on. All right, so let's go ahead and just emboss this, and then our background will pretty much be ready, and we can work on the ground that our little guy is going to stay on. I'm sorry, this is like paint drying, I know. All right, so there we have our background completely ready and done, and let's move on to the next step. So for this next step, we want to create just an area. We're going to be putting this together, which is super easy. And again, this is from actually a desert landscape scene from I think it was a Hero Arts monthly kit. So we're just going to take some white paper, and I already have my scene right here ready to go. And for this, I am going to emboss it in silver, and I'm just going to use I had it out, where did it go? I bet it's buried. Embossing folder. If I can't find it, I'll just do it in white. I think it'll be okay. Oh, no, watch, it's somewhere on my desk, and I just don't see it. I swear I had it. It was my embossing. Oh well, we're just going to do it in white and go with it, because we don't have all day, do we? All right, so let's do it. So I'm just going to ink this up. And this will work because it's pigmented ink. And then on the bottom of this, I'm going to line it up the best that I can towards one side, because I can trim it. Just put this down. And then I'm going to go ahead and just put my silver on, and then we're going to do something pretty cool with some watercolors. All right, and again, I forgot to do my pouch, so I just need to run that over and just kind of pick up in the spots that I don't want it to emboss. And I will get that back into the container off screen after, as to not waste too much of your time. All right, so from here, I want to go ahead and heat emboss this, and then we're going to paint on top of it with some watercolor paint. All right, I'm not going to cut it out yet because I kind of want to hold it with my hand up here. So the watercolor paint that I'm using, you could use anything. I have other stuff in my stash, but this was just on top of my desk. So I opted to do this because it was literally right there. So I'm going to show you how to do it with this, but any watercolor paint will work. So all you're going to do is I am using just a paintbrush that is full of water. This is from Close to My Heart, but any Aquaflow brush would work. You could even take a paintbrush and just dip it in some water, and then do this technique, because I just want to pick up a little bit and just kind of do on the bottom. It needs to be, you know, kind of darker than on the top, because the top is where a penguin's going to be, and it's going to be a little bit more lit. So I'm just kind of going over with a gray. You could take and mute down like a black or something like that, and just giving a little bit of color here. And then I'm going to take some darker blue and go over on the bottom again. Might be a little bit too intense. There we go, just like so. And nothing you do is going to be the same on this, because you're using a non-predictable medium. You know what I mean? So, and it doesn't matter if I'm going up over, because I'm going to cut it out anyway. All right, so once I have that down, I'm going to go through and I'm going to dry it, and then I'm going to add just a little bit of fun sparkle to it. This is not watercolor paper by any means, so you know, you might want to keep that in consider that as you do yours, but it totally works. So I'm just going to dry this for just a moment, and then I'm going to hit it with some actually it's Tonic Studios sparkle. It's like a gloss. I'll show it to you. It's pretty cool. All right, so the gloss that I'm using, this is what it is. Actually, it's close to my heart. Sorry, it's mint. Tonic Studios also has one. And I'm just going to go through and just highlight a little bit around where the illustrator did those lines. So I'm very sloppily going over where the illustrator drew. That's all I'm doing. And then that, I think, is pretty good for a snowy bottom for our penguin. I think that looks pretty good. I'm just going to hit it one time with a heat gun. Okay, and then I'm just going to take and really quickly fussy cut it out, pop it on our card base. And what I like about the embossing powder is it gives me a nice line that I can cut on. And this by no means is all the way dry yet, so, but it gives me a really nice line that I can just cut on, like a nice little barrier. And you can go ahead and put a little sentiment off into the corner of it if you want, or you can do your sentiment on the inside. For this particular one, just to avoid you know, spending too much time on that, I'm just going to leave it as it is. And I'm just going to take and put this on my card front. Now the beauty of this Tim Holtz Distress watercolor paper that I'm using, it is exactly the size of a card front. So when I'm done, I can simply just go and put it right on my card front with no problem. So what I'm doing here is I'm going to trim off the excess as soon as I put it on. I do like to use this art glitter glue because it dries clear and I can move it a little bit, but it does dry quickly. And I think I like that top piece for my, and I'm actually going to, nope, I got to do it that way. All right. So there we go. Now we have our base down. I'm just going to trim this off, and now we get to do the fun part, the penguin. Now this is fun, but the penguin is a lot of fun. We get to do a layering stamp technique with that. So that is super cool. I like to use, for mine, I like to use a stamping platform because it just makes it so much easier. So here we go. Let me move all of this stuff out of the way, although I do need my ink. Maybe not cluttered up so much. And let's see here. I do need my ink. And that's going to be our background. All right. So I'm going to take this piece of paper this time, although You know, I really could just do it on that piece of paper, so we'll just go with that. All right, so I'm going to take this and I'm going to just do my penguin kind of down here in the bottom. And looks like I froze up a little. I hope not. So what you want to do is you want to take the first image and you just want to make sure you butt it up real nice in that corner. And I am going to actually take this and just go over that spot. And then I'm going to place my first penguin down like so. Make sure again I have butted it up nicely into that corner because I do not want all my other layers to not be in the right location. Pick him up. I'm going to use the soft granite, and then I'm just going to ink him up. Lay him down like so. And I didn't get a very good image, probably because I was not inking on a flat surface. So the beauty of using your stamp platform is it's not a big deal. You can just go right back through and do the whole thing again, and then do it as many times as you need to get that image crisp, and that is much better. Okay, so from here I want to use the second to the middle color, which is going to be a charcoal. And so for this one I'm going to use this little guy, and I'm just going to make sure that I line him up the best that I can. Pop that over. And then I'm going to ink this up with the charcoal. And then lay that down. And then for the next one, which is going to be the one that has all of the cute little facial features, we're just going to line him up. I'm going to pull out my black. My screen has frozen on my end, so I hope you guys can still see this, but I'm not sure. It still says that it's going, so I'm assuming that it's all good because I've had that happen before. Sometimes, you know, YouTube is a little bit tricky. I think she can get tired. All right, so I'm inking this up with just some black, and then I'm putting that out like so. And then my penguin is done, and from here I want to go ahead and stamp out the little hat and the little bow tie. So for the hat I am going to use for my highlight color, I want to use the soft granite again, and I'm just going to pop that down like so. And I didn't get a real crisp image, so I want to go over it one more time. That's better. And then I want to take my little hat, this little guy, and put it over. And I'm going to do the new intensified black. That actually came out in the my monthly Hero Arts kit for, I think it was June. I don't know. I don't buy them every month. And I'm a little worried because it did pool in the center. Yeah, so it did pool. That's very intense. I used a heavy hand, but that's okay because I already have a little guy made. And then what I would do from here is I would use this in red. So I'd give him a red little cute bow tie. And once I get all of my bow tie and everything done, I just run him through my, with my die cuts, and I put him together like so. So now I have this cute little penguin that's ready to go on top of my card front. And for this little guy, I'm going to just use some pop dots to kind of make him come to life. And I absolutely, these are my favorite scrapbook adhesive pop dots. I think that this is my favorite product that they have. I just love them. I like the depth of them, and I like how easy that it is to remove that outer paper. So we're just gonna pop dot him on and have him stand in the center of this little beautiful background. Isn't that cute? And again, I don't know what you can see and what you can't see because my screen froze. And then once we're all done with that, you can put a sentiment on. I'll show you the card that I did. I did put a sentiment on the front, but for the sake of I'm getting really close to 30 minutes and I don't ever want to go over, want to be super respectful of your time, I'm just going to put this on as it is and call it good. I really hope that you guys enjoyed today's live. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions, if you're watching this on playback, then please go ahead and leave them down below and I'll do my best to answer them. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, I certainly hope that you do so. And also follow me on Instagram. And if you're interested in any of these products, go ahead and check out all my links down below. Your best place to find this is going to be Blitsy and then the Hero Arts website that I have down below. And last but not least, always align your cards open because it will allow for perfect alignment. So that's that little finished card. This is the one that I did as a sample. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Until next time, I'm Betsy Golden and happy crafting.